Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Rebekah Roberts.
And I'm Yochanan Elrom.
In our top story, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the nation last week, calling for unity as the Jewish state faces existential threats from Iran and its proxies. Netanyahu thanked U.S. President Donald Trump for America's unprecedented military cooperation with the IDF. The United States military has completed its largest buildup in the Middle East since 2003. And last week, American refueling and cargo planes landed at Ben Gurion Airport. American embassy staffers have been evacuated from dozens of posts throughout the Middle East in preparation for possible backlash for an American attack on Iran. Israel's Homefront Command has ordered the opening of all public shelters throughout the Jewish state and encouraged Israelis to be vigilant and prepared for the days to come.
Jerusalem sent a grave warning to Beirut that it would target civilian infrastructure in Lebanon if Hezbollah becomes involved in the U.S.-Iran conflict. Senior Lebanese officials have confirmed that Israel threatened to hit Lebanon hard if Hezbollah attacks the Jewish state. Intelligence assessments reveal that Tehran is prepared to activate its proxy forces surrounding Israel, including Hezbollah, for a final assault on the Jewish state. The Saudi news outlet Al Arabiya reported that officers with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps have been dispatched to Lebanon to command the terror army. The IDF estimates that Hezbollah still possesses several thousand rockets and hundreds of medium and long-range missiles that can penetrate deep into Israeli territory. Jerusalem reportedly warned Beirut that if attacked, it will target civilian infrastructure in Lebanon, including the airport.
The national religious broadcasters are calling on Christians around the world to pray for the Iranian people and to support exiled Prince Reza Pahlavi. During the NRB's 2026 International Christian Media Convention, the group urgently called on the global Christian community to immediate sustained prayer for the people of Iran. Troy A. Miller, president and CEO of the NRB, said, "We stand in solidarity with exiled Iranian leader Reza Pahlavi, a key advocate for the Iranian people who has worked relentlessly to unify the opposition and promote nonviolent resistance." Pahlavi has also advocated for targeted sanctions against the IRGC and for a democratic transition.
Washington is preparing to increase its oversight of foreign funding to American universities. As part of this initiative, the State Department and the Department of Education have been ordered to increase scrutiny of foreign donations and contracts. The goal is to limit foreign influence on curriculum and campus activity. The Reuters news agency recently reported that in 2025, American universities received $5.2 billion in foreign funds. U.S. officials are becoming increasingly concerned about the implications of this foreign influence and are working to ensure that American academic freedom and public discourse are not threatened by state actors.
Germany's largest political party, the Christian Democratic Union, has unanimously approved a motion to end funding to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency and to increase oversight of aid to the Palestinian Authority. CDU Representative Hugh Becker said after 19 years of tyranny by the terrorist organization Hamas in the Gaza Strip, UNRWA is not part of the solution, but part of the problem. The motion calls on the Palestinian Authority to adhere to conditions in order to receive EU and German aid. These include the termination of pay-to-slay stipends to terrorists and their families, and the total revision of Palestinian curriculum to cease including anti-Semitic incitement.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the Knesset. Netanyahu described the visit as part of a broader vision to build alliances to counter both Shiite and Sunni Muslim radicalism. He told the cabinet that the fabric of the relationship between India and Israel has grown tighter, and Modi's visit will only strengthen these ties. Jerusalem and New Delhi are expected to announce a series of decisions aimed at strengthening the cooperation between their governments in the fields of security, economy, and diplomacy. The India-Israel relationship has yielded successful results under Modi's leadership. In 2024, bilateral trade between the countries more than doubled, reaching $5 billion.
The biblical heartland of Judea and Samaria grew at twice the rate of Israel's overall population in 2025. A new Jewish statistics report reveals that the citizenry of Judea and Samaria and the Jordan Valley grew by 2.2% last year, exactly double the growth rate of the nation's overall population. The survey compiled by former member of Knesset Yaakov Katz confirmed that today, 541,085 Jews are living in Judea and Samaria, amounting to 5.32% of the total population of Israel. The report estimates that by 2030, more than 600,000 Jews will be living in the biblical heartland, and that by 2050, its population will exceed 1 million Jewish residents.
Israeli kickboxer Ahavat Hashem Gordon defeated Turkish fighter Ali Koyuncu despite a series of inappropriate remarks, threats, and unsportsmanlike conduct on the part of the Turk. In the days leading up to the fight, Koyuncu posted anti-Israel and anti-Semitic comments online and threatened his opponent. During the pre-fight weigh-in, the Turkish fighter grabbed Gordon by the throat, prompting officials to intervene. The Israeli athlete chose to take his frustrations out in the ring. He demolished his Turkish opponent by a technical knockout in the second round.
The March of Life organization held its 11th conference, bringing Christian leaders, government officials, Holocaust survivors, and Israel supporters from around the world together to stand against anti-Semitism. Josh Reinstein, the president of the Israel Allies Foundation, praised the initiative, saying at this moment when anti-Semitism and hatred towards Israel are resurging around the world, it is vital that people of conscience stand clearly, courageously, and publicly with the Jewish people and the State of Israel. Jops Bittner, founder and president of the March of Life, said that his organization takes the words of Isaiah 39 as a call to action. The prophet wrote, "For Zion's sake, I will not be silent." And Bittner declared that Christians will stand side by side with Jewish communities and Israel, actively breaking the silence on anti-Semitism and hatred of Jews, loudly, audibly, and visibly.
The United States Olympic hockey team won the gold medal for the first time since 1980, and two Jewish brothers are being credited with bringing Team America back to the winner's circle. Jewish-American hockey star Quinn Hughes, who plays for Minnesota Wild, is being praised for his role in helping Team USA to reach the finals against Canada. Quinn's brother, Jack Hughes, of the New Jersey Devils, scored the winning goal of the final game, securing the gold medal for Team America.
The Great Scroll of Isaiah, the oldest nearly complete book from the Hebrew Bible ever found, is on display in its entirety for the first time in 60 years. Discovered in the caves of Qumran near the Dead Sea in 1947, this scroll dates to about 125 BCE. It consists of 17 sheets of vellum stitched together, and when opened, the scroll stretches 7 meters or 23 feet long. The Israel Museum displayed the full Isaiah scroll during its inauguration in 1967, but soon realized that the fragile parchment needed to be protected. This new exhibit, unveiled on the Israel Museum's 60th anniversary, displays the scroll in an 8-meter-long glass case in a climate-controlled room, allowing visitors a rare up-close and personal view of this incredible biblical artifact.
Jews around the world are preparing for the Fast of Esther that begins on Monday morning, the 13th day of the Hebrew month of Adar. The day is marked with prayers for the redemption of the Jewish people. It occurs on the same date, 2,500 years ago, that Queen Esther asked the Jewish community of Persia to fast and pray for salvation. Monday night at sundown, Jews will begin the celebration of Purim. This festival commemorates the historic pardoning of the Jews of Persia by King Ahasuerus. Many people draw parallels between the madman Haman, who hated the Jews and plotted their annihilation, with today's leaders in Iran. The story of Purim is written in the biblical book of Esther. It holds the reassuring message in these uncertain times that if we are diligent and faithful, God will save his people, just as he did in Persia 2,500 years ago.
We at Israel Now News would like to wish all of our viewers a happy Purim.
Hag Purim Sameach. That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein, and we're here in our beautiful studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is Dr. Mordechai Kedar. He's an expert in Islam. Dr. Kedar, thank you for being on the show.
Pleasure to be here, Josh.
So you're an expert on Islam, and there's been a lot of debate here about what's the difference between Islam and radical Islam.
Simplistically, I would say, if somebody, Muslim, prays 5 times a day, first on Ramadan, goes once in lifetime to Mecca, and adheres to the Islamic orders, it's okay. This is Islam. Islamism is when he starts imposing it on others or changing others' mindset in order to fit his. This is when the problem starts.
We see in Europe now that radical Islam is spreading all over the place, and it's kind of unchecked. No one's really doing anything about it. Is this the end of Western society in Europe?
First of all, start with demography. European nations, like the Germans, the French, are in sharp decline of demography. On the other side, you see a sharp increase in the demography of the migrants who are, most of them are Muslims. So it's not a matter of statistics, it's a matter of mathematics. It will happen one day when the chart which goes up will exceed the one which goes down. And this is what will happen in 20 years, 30 years, I don't know, but this is the indications which nobody can deny.
We hear a lot of talk about this from the Trump administration. They passed an executive order banning the Muslim Brotherhood, yet Muslim Brotherhood organizations in America are pretty free to operate. Can you tell us about this?
This is some kind of contradiction which I don't understand. The executive order banned the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, Jordan, and some other countries, while in the United States of America, you have Muslim Brotherhood organizations working day and night in order to Islamize America. CARE is, I would say, the umbrella, but for example, MSA, Muslim Student Association, which is the herald of anti-Semitism, anti-Jewish message, anti-Israeli, anti-Zionist activities in the campuses, which definitely the administration of Trump tries to fight. But how can you fight them when they are so active on the 501c3 chapter and sponsored by Qatar, which is viewed as the ally of the United States of America to support the American dreams about MAGA.
We see in Qatar that they're spending billions of dollars infiltrating universities in America. They have Al Jazeera, a media organization that is just pure propaganda pushing the Islamic agenda. Who are some of the other actors doing these things around the world?
I think that the main engine behind the Islamism is Qatar. Qatar supports Iran, for example. Qatar supports Muslim Brotherhood wherever they are. Unfortunately, even within Israel, I suspect.
We have this problem in Israel as well. We have the Muslim Brotherhood party in our Knesset. We have Al Jazeera, not during wartime, but usually broadcasting the lies here too. Why isn't Israel taking a stronger stand against the Muslim Brotherhood?
Well, unfortunately, we are governed by the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court would not define the Muslim Brotherhood as a problem because of the woke culture which controls the Supreme Court. For them, as long as you don't shoot or put a bomb to kill people, you are okay. The fact that you want to change Israel to be an Islamic country, just like what they want to turn the United States into Islamic countries, and they actually act in order to turn Europe to Islamic countries, this is okay with the law, because it's not against the law. Okay? This is the problem with the judicial system here in Israel, which took over this country.
We see that Turkey is becoming a major player in promoting radical Islam all over the world, and also in Turkey. Do you see this as a potential threat going forward?
Definitely what you see through the last few years, that Erdogan tries to establish the Ottoman Empire, maybe under a different name, in order not to frighten the Arabs, because they hate the Ottoman Empire. But you see Turkey everywhere. You see Turkey in Syria. You see Turkey in Qatar. The Turks defended Qatar when Qatar was under siege between June 2017 and beginning of 2021. Turkish army was in Qatar in order to make sure that Saudi Arabia doesn't invade Qatar, to chase out the Al Thani family. To that degree, Turkey is in Iraq against the Kurds. Turkey is in Libya. Turkey is here in Jerusalem. They have organizations like TIKA, which promotes the Turkish ideas inside Jerusalem within the Arab society. You see Turkey everywhere in the Middle East. Don't forget the Turkish occupation of part of Cyprus ever since 1974. Occupation, sheer occupation. So Turks, yes, they try to, little by little, reconstruct the Ottoman Empire without naming it in that name.
Dr. Kedar, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
Israel is the front bastion of Western culture here in the Middle East. The jihadists want to topple Israel in order to continue the wave to Europe and to cross the Atlantic to America. If Israel falls, this wave will cover Europe immediately, and the Atlantic Ocean is not wide enough to keep America safe from the wave of Islamism. They will be so much encouraged by this victory over Israel that nothing will be able to stand in front of them. Ladies and gentlemen, support Israel and therefore support yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Kedar, for being on the show. And thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein, wishing you a happy Purim. Now back to the studio.
And now the truth from Zion.
For more than 4 decades, the Iranian regime has used terrorism as a tool of state policy. Its targets are global. Its tactics include truck bombs, suicide attacks, hostage-taking, and support for terrorist proxies that act on its behalf. Its message is clear. Wherever Tehran sees enemies, it sends a warning in blood. The pattern began soon after the 1979 revolution. That year, Iranian-backed terrorists seized the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and held 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. It was not a spontaneous act by extremists. It was endorsed and defended by the brand-new fanatic Shiite regime. The hostage crisis ended in 1981, but it marked the beginning of a campaign that would span decades and continents. In 1983, 2 truck bombs destroyed the U.S. Marine barracks and the French paratrooper military base in Beirut, Lebanon. The blast killed 241 American servicemen and 58 French soldiers. The operation was carried out by Hezbollah, a terrorist group created, trained, and financed by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The goal was to drive Western military forces out of Lebanon, and it worked. U.S. troops withdrew a few months later. In 1984, Hezbollah bombed the U.S. Embassy Annex in East Beirut, killing 24 people. Over the next several years, Western citizens were kidnapped, tortured, and sometimes killed by Hezbollah operatives under Iranian orders. Journalists, academics, diplomats, and military personnel were among the targets. In 1992, the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires was destroyed by a car bomb that killed 29 people. 2 years later, in 1994, a massive explosion targeted the Amia Jewish Community Center in the same city. That blast killed 85 and wounded hundreds. To this day, no one has been brought to justice for this demonic-inspired slaughter. In 1996, the Khobar Towers bombing in Saudi Arabia killed 19 U.S. Air Force personnel. The attackers belonged to a Hezbollah offshoot directed by Iranian security agencies. Iran's evil reach extended to Europe as well. In the 1980s and 90s, Iranian agents and proxies assassinated dissidents in Paris, Berlin, Geneva, and Vienna. One of the most brazen attacks occurred in 1992 at the Mykonos restaurant in Berlin, where Iranian-backed operatives shot and killed 4 Kurdish opposition leaders. In Bulgaria, in 2012, a suicide bomber attacked a bus carrying Israeli tourists in Burgas, killing 6 and injuring dozens. Iran has also supported proxy attacks against U.S. and coalition forces during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. American intelligence estimates that hundreds of American soldiers were killed by Iranian-made roadside bombs supplied to fanatic Shiite militias trained by the IRGC. Iran has also plotted attacks on U.S. soil. In 2011, the United States uncovered a plot by Iranian operatives to assassinate the Saudi ambassador to Washington by bombing a restaurant in the capital. The plan involved cooperation with a Mexican drug cartel and would have killed dozens of civilians if carried out. Then came October 7, 2023. Hamas terrorists invaded southern Israel, killing over 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and taking more than 250 hostages. Iran's fingerprints were all over the attack. The IRGC trained Hamas fighters, financed their tunnels and rockets, and provided the weapons and intelligence needed to carry out the massacre. Iranian officials praised the attack and called it a success. Hezbollah and the Houthis joined in shortly afterward, confirming the extent of Iranian involvement. The Iranian regime has made terrorism a permanent tool of statecraft. Iranian embassies and front organizations provide cover for planning, recruitment, and surveillance. These acts of terror are all part of a long-term strategy to spread fear, undermine democracies, and destabilize entire regions from within. This is the legacy of Tehran's destructive foreign policy, a worldwide campaign of violence carried out through terror, threats, and fear, from Buenos Aires to Burgas, from the streets of Paris to the tunnels of Gaza. The evidence speaks for itself. From Jerusalem, this is the truth from Zion. Up next, shining light from Israel.
When David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, cast his gaze upon the Negev desert, he envisioned 5 million people living on its harsh soil. The Bible tells us in the book of Isaiah, chapter 35, that when the Jewish people return to the land of Israel, that the desert will rejoice and flowers will bloom in the wilderness. Well, here I stand in the northwest corner of the Negev desert, and all around me are flowers blooming here in the wilderness. One thing we're not lacking here in Israel is sunlight. However, we are lacking water. So how is it that 70% of Israel's agriculture is grown in its deserts? Well, through Israeli innovation such as water reclamation, recycling wastewater, and desalinating the water from the Mediterranean Sea that could be used for drinking as well as irrigation, we've been able to make the desert bloom. Let's now meet Ori Alon, a farmer in the desert who's using this Israeli agrotech that's been innovated here in Israel to help him make this biblical prophecy become a reality. Hey, Ori.
Hey, how are you, David?
I'm doing great, thank God. We're so excited to learn how you're using Israeli innovation in the field of agrotech to make the desert bloom.
So I'm happy to take you to the greenhouse of the cherry tomato they develop in Israel. Let's go there, but on the way you should eat some chili.
They look amazing.
They are.
Wow, these cherry tomato plants are incredible. They're so high.
We grow them in a desert. That's what's unique. And through the irrigation system, we add the nutrient to the soil.
And this irrigation system, I'm assuming it's the Israeli innovation of drip irrigation?
Yes, it is. It's developed in Israel. Look here how it's working. You can see now that we open the water through the computer. And every 20 centimeters, we have one drop that gives the same amount of water to every plant. In this situation, even if we grow on a hill, the plant on the top and the down get the same amount of water.
Wow, that's incredible. So inside the hose, you have some type of regulator.
Yes, you can see it over here that it's not just a hole in a pipe. Inside it, you can see this filter that filtering the water, and this what make it very unique even when the water is very dirty.
So what you've been able to do here is literally grow whatever you want through drip irrigation.
Yes, it's desert soil, no any nutrient inside this soil. So we have computer that check how many nutrients the plant need, and through the irrigation system, we add a chemical fertilizer that fit for grow tomato or other crops.
Wow.
We have here.
That's amazing. Do you have any other types of innovation that you use here at the farm?
Yes, in another place we don't use soil at all. We grow up in the air. I show you it in the strawberry.
Wow, these strawberries look absolutely amazing. They taste incredible. And they're growing in the air and without soil. How is this all possible?
We grow here in a special tube, and in this tube we have coconut husk. This is coconut husk, not the part of the coconut, this one, the out part of the coconut. We take it in Sri Lanka, squeeze it, and put it in these bags, irrigate it with drip irrigation system. The rest of the water go inside this tunnel, and because we have angle over there, we can recycling the water.
Not one drop is being wasted. Folks, when visiting Israel, you can't leave without coming here, where you get to pick and taste the produce and learn how we've been able to make the desert bloom.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Rebekah Roberts.
And I'm Yochanan Elrom, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.